I'm going to cover the most important visualization that we didn't cover in the data visualization lesson, the slicer. The reason this video starts with a picture of people searching through bins of comic books is that slicers are going to help your users sort through tons of data items quickly to find what they need. Just to recap, slicers are very similar to filters, except they refer to a specific type of visual. You can add as many slicer visuals as you want to a report page, so that users can select all the options they want. Then, when users make a selection in the slicer, those selections filter the data on the page, including the different data visuals that you've created, as demonstrated in the second example here. Notice how only the selected video game titles are visible in the bar chart. Slicers are so useful and fun to play with that for better or worse, your users are probably going to request a lot of them. That's why it's important to think about how you will organize all of those slicers. It is highly recommended that you do your best to group slicers together so that users don't have to spend time searching for them. It is common practice to arrange your slicers either along the left-hand side of the report, as pictured here, or across the top of the report. But this is often not practical if your page has more than 5 or 6 slicers. Regardless of which course you choose, the goal is just to make your slicers as easy as possible to find. The most common type of slicer is the list slicer, which is really just a list of checkboxes that users can select to filter data. However, one thing that makes slicers somewhat complicated to configure compared to data visuals is that you will use more than just the formatting options in the visualization pane to customize this visual. The icons in the top right corner of the slicer help you change its appearance. The 3 dots allow you to change the sorting order of the slicer or add a search bar so that users can search for an item using free text. Just like filter cards, the eraser icon just clears all the selections that are made in the slicer. And finally, the caret icon, which looks like a V, allows you to change the style of the slicer. For example, if you were concerned about space and prefer to have a drop-down slicer instead of a full list that takes up a lot of space, you can change between the two using the caret. A drop-down slicer is very useful when you want to conserve space. With a drop-down slicer, you still have all the benefits of a list slicer, but it doesn't take up as much room. If the user clicks on the drop-down slicer, they can view the list and select what they need. And then the slicer will collapse again. You can see in the examples how much smaller a drop-down slicer can be compared to a list slicer. Other options for customizing your slicers are in the formatting options of the visualizations pane, including the different control settings. The default setting for all slicers is multi-select with control, meaning that if a user wants to select multiple items, they just need to hold down the control button when making those selections. Most users will turn this off and enable Select All, which lets users choose as many items as they like and exclude items if they need to. There may be occasions when the nature of your data means that you must restrict users to only making one selection at a time. This can be enabled using single select. This is less common and varies from situation to situation, but it's still important to know how to enable this control option if you need it.